I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name's Amber Soma, and I work at YouthServe as a part of the program team. I also have Whitney on here. She's my counterpart, the program director. She is hitting some traffic, so she'll be settled shortly. Um, and then we also have our partner from Big City Mountaineers here. I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself as well.
Hey y'all, my name's Margaret Kartner. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm from Big City Mountaineers. I'm the regional program manager, and I'm here to talk to you all about the adventures that the ambassadors with YouthServe will be able to do this summer with us.
All right, I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Whitney. I'm our program director here at YouthServe. So we basically just wanted to hold this session because we are introducing a new format, something new into our programming, and figured it might have some, since we're doing a partnership, I thought that we would open this space for you all to ask us any questions and to give you the time to learn as much about it as possible because there are some pretty interesting concepts that are a little bit different from YouthServe's current programming. So just allowing this space for us all to get acquainted and get an understanding for how we can help each other, benefit each other, and grow our programming together. So with that being said, I see a couple of you all, I know some of you all might be, well, I know two of you all for a fact are part of our leadership councils. So think of our Summer Ambassadors program as a third programming option, except this one will be open from age 13 to 18. And we're going to have some opportunities for you all to take on higher leadership capabilities. I know in Youth Action Council and Youth Philanthropy Council, you all are encouraged to be leaders and encouraged to step out on your own and explore. Well, this time we're tying in a natural aspect. So more of a nature focus. And that's where our partners, Big City Mountaineers, come in. They typically take students from different environments and bring them out into the community, bring them out into nature. And I'm going to give Margaret the floor to talk more about y'all's mission. But our goal as an organization at YouthServe is connecting you all to community. And if you did some partnerships or did some programming with us last summer, we did a focus on sustainability. So we are expanding that this year with continuing some of those sustainable models because sustainability is not just a summer activity, it is a lifestyle choice. So how can we continue that through activities and extracurriculars that we already do or maybe have not been introduced to so that we can explore more and connect more with our natural community? And Margaret, I'll give you the floor or a little bit to talk about how Big Sea Mountaineers mission comes into play.
Absolutely. So I have a whole presentation. How detailed would you like me to get?
You can be as detailed as you like.
Okay, cool. Well, if you're all right with me sharing my screen, I can show y'all what this looks like. So, hey y'all again, I'm Margaret Kartner. I'm with Big City Mountaineers. I have to hit share again, I believe. Oh, present, there it is. And then present again. There we go. So Big City Mountaineers is new to Birmingham this year. Woo! And we take youth ages 12 to 18 into the outdoors, usually from disinvested communities, and that is our mission. So about me, my name, like I said, is Margaret. I'm from Birmingham. I have been a teacher at Huffman High School for the last 4 years, where I started an outdoor club to take high schoolers into the backcountry to kind of speak to what Whitney was saying as far as your all goals of sustainability and community connection. We are on natural land. All of the things that we eat and drink come from land, right? We are constantly engaged in our environment. And so learning more about where we are and how we survive is only building into your already framework of how do I sustain myself and what do I need versus what do I have? And you really dial those in your hiking and backpacking experiences. So BCM partners with youth development agencies like YouthServe to provide free, fully outfitted outdoor trips to high school students. But we also do middle school students, as you know, 12 through 18. And so we are based out of Denver, but we have offices in Seattle, Richmond, California, Minneapolis, Boston, and Miami. And this year is our launch in Birmingham. So the way that we do this is it's a 3-trip series. We have a day trip, an overnight camping trip, and a backpacking expedition. So what that will look like is just like it describes, and we'll go into detail on that in a moment. But here is a little preview of what students have to say about it. Let me make sure my sound is being shared. Here's sound. There we go.
Big City Mountaineers provides transformative experiences in nature that build community and strengthen life skills for youth from disinvested communities. Since 1989, BCM has served over 11,000 youth, engaged over 5,500 adult mentors, organized over 1,000 expeditions, and provided over 45,000 nights under the stars for youth who may not have otherwise had an opportunity.
We do this because being outside is intrinsically valuable. And we also do this because being outside helps individuals grow in really important ways.
Expedition that goes out will fill out one of these flags, both for their trip and for individuals.
I had like a flower because I was excited to grow as like a courageous person. And then I wanted my quote to be, "She is bright, courageous, and full of love and joy."
I said on this trip I learned like the importance of having like a close group of friends and how motivating that is.
I drew a tree to start because I think that represents to me life.
We need some music!
We ensure that our youth participants can access all the benefits of spending time outdoors. That's why every BCM trip is fully outfitted, professionally guided, and 100% free. During a BCM experience, youth learn technical skills like pitching a tent, reading a map, or cooking in the backcountry. They also develop and practice essential social and emotional skills and make connections with their community, with nature, and with themselves. There are so many ways that you can get involved with BCM. Head to bigcitymountaineers.org to donate, participate in our adventure fundraising program, and volunteer on our trips.
Oh, Mark,
Okay.
muted. Oh.
Yeah, I had to find my button. Okay, so that is a little preview into what your summer may look like. Obviously, it'll be a different environment because we're going to be in Alabama instead of wherever that was shot. And it's not during COVID, so we won't be wearing masks, so that's exciting. But here are all of our youth agency partners. Y'all are down here. YouthServe, whoop, whoop. Y'all are new. We, Girls Inc. and Breakthrough Birmingham are the 3 Birmingham youth organizations this summer. These are all of the other ones around the country. So you are not the only ones in the country doing this right now, which is fun, I think, to be a part of a larger community. So this is what the trip series looks like. And the idea is that we introduce this experience and we introduce this set of skills in a really approachable way. So today is our family info session. So this is where we start talking about what this might look like. Your first expedition will be a day trip. The next one will be an overnight camping trip, not back to back, these will be a couple weeks apart. And then it'll be culminating into a backpacking expedition, which will be 7 days in the backcountry. And then we'll have an end of year celebration where not only you all will be involved, but also the other youth agency partners. And we'll kind of get to bring together everybody who had this awesome experience to share notes, see who came up with the craziest recipe, see who had the craziest weather, the most bugs, whatever. There's always fun ways to compare. And then finally, we are working on, our goal is that in 2 years, we'll have an alumni leaders program. We don't have that yet because we don't have any alumni. But the goal is to have alumni be able to come back and learn more about existing in the backcountry, whether that's getting your wilderness first aid certification, learning on trail, being an apprentice with our instructors, and helping show or introduce more people to this type of experience. So this is not only a self-actualization and a challenge, but it's also a leadership development program. So as you go through these excursions, you learn about the differences between self-leadership, peer leadership, active followership, all of the things that help you interact, not only when to step forward on your own, but when to join the leadership of someone else and support their mission or their vision. So again, we're trying to build comfort with new skills, gear, people, and places throughout all of this. Okay, so your day hike, we are still discussing where exactly we want this to be and when. We're working on our dates, but the day trip is close. So we will be going to either Oak Mountain State Park, Sipsey River Wilderness, Cheaha State Park, or Hurricane Creek State Park. So this is Sipsey with the waterfalls. This is Cheaha, our highest point in Alabama, and this is Oak Mountain. The goal for us is to keep it close enough that it feels connected to your community, but also showing you things that you may not know that exist in Alabama. For example, I am from here and I grew up doing outdoor things, and I still had never been to the Sipsey River Wilderness until my mid-20s. And it's a protected wilderness that's absolutely beautiful, and there's nowhere else in the Southeast that looks like it. And so we're still discussing, and it's kind of dependent on y'all's goals as well, what exactly you're looking for, but it'll be a day hike. We'll talk about what it looks like from beginning to end. Then we have the overnight camp out. This will be kind of closer to May and June, depending on everybody's schedules. And again, we have kind of the same options, but a few more. So Oak Mountain State Park, Sipsey River Wilderness, Cheaha State Park, DeSoto State Park. So again, these are all really beautiful places around the state that we will spend the night overnight. And this will be, you'll still be in tents, but it'll be kind of car camping. So we'll set up our tent and set up all of our gear pretty much directly behind whatever vehicle we use to get there in a campsite. And then we'll do a day hike while we're there. So you won't be carrying your big old backpack with all of your belongings when you hike, and you'll be able to enjoy the hike, but also learn how to put all of those things up, familiarize yourself with the gear before you make it to the 7-day expedition. So this is really exciting. This is kind of the culmination of what these other two experiences build up to. So again, it's 7 days in the backcountry. So you go in, it's 5 days in the backcountry and then 2 days of travel, basically. And this will be June or July, right? This is going to fall in your summer months. And this will be either on the Pinhoti Trail, the Great Smoky Mountains, or the Cherokee National Forest. We're going to try and stick with the Pinhoti with you all, because I know that y'all want to focus on local community and places that are closer to us here in Birmingham. And so the Pinhoti is actually in Alabama. It's towards Talladega. For a 7-day, you have to go a little bit outside of town, because that's where the public land is. And that's where you have a piece of public land that's large enough to spend 7 days. And again, the route and everything will be dependent on what type of challenge you all are looking for, as well as some, necessary options as far as, water access, and all of that sort of stuff. Okay. So what does a day look like? Okay, so this is a kind of an idea of what the day looks like on the expedition, but pieces of it you'll see during the day hike and during the overnight, right? So in the morning, you'll have breakfast, you'll have your quote of the day, you'll figure out your student leadership roles. So that can be anything. We have some set roles, and then we have some roles that you and your group may come up with. So student leadership roles may be anything from leader of the day, timekeeper, the person who's in charge of reminding people to take snacks or eat snacks or drink water. You might have someone whose pure role is to make sure no one's getting blisters and checking to make sure people are paying attention to hot spots on their feet. You may have an outdoor lesson if that includes whatever you might need to know for the day, right? So that could be, how to light your stove in the morning, or map reading so that you know how to find your route for the day. And then you'll hike, which is the meditative part of the day. You pack your pack and you get into your stride, and you just get to unload and enjoy everything around you. In the afternoon, there'll be lunch, hiking, another outdoor lesson. So that could be, did everybody pack their pack in a way that feels good? Maybe you unpack and repack so that it's balanced and feels better on your back. And then team building activities that bring your community within YouthServe together. Because I know that not all of you are from the same school, and you may not know each other super well. And depending on where this lands in your programming, this could be really just essential for y'all's group as to meld as a crew. And then also, YouthServe will bring in some of their curriculum as well. And then finally, in the evenings, you'll set up camp, you'll make your own dinner, you'll play games, more outdoor lessons. Maybe you didn't sleep so well the night before and you want to learn how to stay warmer, or last night when you made dinner, you may want to learn a new recipe, something along those lines. And then you get to relax, and there'll be some reflection roundtable. So that will look like the community coming together and talk, maybe doing a rosebud thorn moment. What was your rose of the day? What was your thorn of the day? And what's your bud that you're looking forward to tomorrow? Or something silly like, what breakfast food do you most identify with? And then the adult team will also have a meeting. So those of you adult team that are on the call, that will get a chance for you all to reflect on the day as well and figure out what kind of roles work best for each of you, who might need a little bit of alone time, all of that kind of stuff. So the expedition, like I said, is 7 days, 5 full days in the backcountry with 2 days of travel on either end. And the idea is that the first part of the trip, the first 2 days, you're really getting used to your systems. You're getting used to how to set up your tent. You're getting used to sleeping outside. You're getting used to carrying everything. You're getting used to how to filter your water so that it's drinkable. You're getting used to what layers you need to be wearing so that you're comfortable. When you get towards the middle, you're kind of going to be building up towards some sort of challenge. And that can be a physical challenge. That could be a mental challenge. You get to decide, you and your youth agency partners, so Whitney and Amber, and then also the instructors that are on your course. And then the last days are focused on celebration and reflection. And we make it back to the front country, and that's where you get to take your showers and re-engage with all the luxuries that you're used to these days, after having kind of given yourself a little bit of a space to separate. All right, and so this is kind of where I can speak more to what Whitney was saying. So why go on one of these, right? So this is an awesome opportunity to challenge yourself. It's very rare these days that we spend this much time separated from technology, separated from this pace of life that's so demanding and so quick, and it allows you to slow down, but it also challenges you in your area of discomfort, right? So that could be, it may be really uncomfortable for you to not have your phone for 7 days, or it might be really uncomfortable for you not to shower every single day, or it might be uncomfortable for you to have to be around bugs for a little bit, but you get to challenge yourself and you get to overcome those challenges and start to trust yourself that you can do hard things, that you can face these challenges and overcome them. And you start setting up systems for yourself of what that might look like. Learn new outdoor skills. Our goal is for you all to learn the skills that you need so that you can go back into the wilderness or back into nature and enjoy it. And it doesn't mean that you go on a 7-day expedition and now you want to backpack all the time. But the goal is that you now know what you need to have a successful hike, how to support yourself with nutrients, how to make a safe plan, how to set up a system so that if you need help, you know how to get it. Relaxation and rejuvenation, again, you're stepping away from all of the technology and all of the really quick, fast paces of life. And you're getting a chance to reflect. You're getting a chance to connect with people on a one-on-one level with 0 distractions. And I say that knowing that we're online right now, and I'm sure many people are doing multiple things, which is a beauty of technology, but the idea is that you get to focus on that one activity at a time. And then build community and share memories. So you're going to build community with one another, but also getting to know the land around your city and the land that supports your way of life is really, really meaningful, right? Protecting the trees that offer us oxygen, understanding the idea of a watershed and how stuff that we leave on the ground can get washed into our drinking water is incredibly important. Learning more about wildlife so that also supports that wonderful cycle that supports our life is really meaningful. And then as you do all of these things, you're learning how to be really resourceful with what you need, right? You learn what you rely on to stay comfortable and exist, but you also realize all of the extra things that we've become accustomed to that, yeah, maybe sometimes make us more comfortable, but sometimes it just complicates things. And this allows you to help parse out which pieces, are absolutely necessary and which pieces are maybe not as necessary, which is cool and really speaks to our ability to be sustainable as a race, human race. who goes on an expedition? 6 to 9 youth participants, BCM instructors, youth agency representatives, and adult volunteers. So our expectation, if you join on the day hike, it is not automatically expected for you to make it all the way to the expedition, right? The hope is that you want to do the day hike, the overnight, and the expedition. But we recognize that not everybody wants to do 7 days in the backcountry, right? You may do the day hike and say, yep, that was good. You might do the day hike and the overnight and say, you know what? I was in my comfort zone. Now I'm in the fear zone, and that was good. I do not need to go past that, right? But if you might go on the overnight and be like, oh yeah, I like that. That was, it was a little challenging, but I'm intrigued. I want to see what the 7-day has to offer, what kind of transformative experience I might enjoy. And so we hope that you go into everything, but we understand that everybody has different tastes and everybody has different interests. So only 6 to 9 youth participants will be on an expedition. We may run more than one expedition with YouthServe depending on how many students are interested. We'll have 2 BCM instructors. So those instructors will be the ones knowing all of those backcountry skills to help you all. Your youth agency representatives, correct me if I'm wrong, but last time we spoke, Whitney and Amber are going to be on our 7-day expedition with you all. So people that you know will be there. And then finally, adult volunteers. We will have adult volunteers up to a 1-to-1 ratio. So we could have as many, if we have 2 youth agency representatives and 2 BCM instructors, we may have, 2 to 5 more adult volunteers, depending on who's interested. But these adult volunteers give us an opportunity to kind of connect with our bigger community as they come from all across the community to engage with you all. And we can talk more about that later, but they're, go through background checks and all that kind of stuff to make sure that they're good to go. So here are some common questions that people have. And when I finish these common questions, I'll open the floor for everybody who still has questions. But a common one is, will I be safe from animals and bugs? The answer is yes. We take gear that protects us from bugs when we are sleeping. We have bug spray, of course, for during the day. And then animals, we don't have a ton of really aggressive predators here in Alabama, which is wonderful. But for those that we do still want to protect ourselves from and or want to not, oh my goodness, I can't think of the word, contaminate, right, the natural world and the natural habitat, we bring these things like this. This is just one example, but bear canisters, right? We keep all of our food and all of our smelly things in bear canisters far away from where we sleep, so that no animal is going to be sniffing their way to our tents, right? If they sniff their way, it'll be to the food area. And then they've got this thing that they can bat around for a little while, but they can't actually open. So we've got different things in place to make sure that we do not attract the animal population. And then we've got extra security things in place to make sure that if that were to happen, we're still going to be able to walk away with our food. What about the weather? The weather changes, right? We're used to that. We live in the South. We live in a rainforest, really. And so we do expect daily weather, rain here, maybe some wind, some heat, some cool, all of that kind of stuff. But we go out with gear to protect us from those things. Additionally, your instructors will be trained for inclement weather, and I will be in the front country monitoring weather whenever you are out there, and we will be in touch if there's any type of serious weather we need to consider, and we'll have emergency action plans in place to make sure that we evacuate anybody if there's anything crazy coming. Otherwise, we have safety protocols for in the backcountry to make sure people stay safe. What we provide. So if you're looking at all this and you're like, I don't have any of this gear, I don't know what I need. Don't worry, we provide it all. Okay. So everything from your hiking boots to your backpack, to your sleeping bags, to your food, to your cooking gear, just anything you can need. Here's a list, right? But and more. What you will walk home with after the expedition is you get to keep your shoes and your socks that we provide. You also get to keep a backpack and a water bottle. The idea is that we're giving you a starter's kit so that when you go home after you've showered and rested and gotten over your bug bites and you want to go back out and feel some nature, you have everything you need to do so. And so we provide everything that we can to make this super accessible and comfortable and safe for you all. And then we allow you to walk away with the essential gear that you need in order to re-engage with your environment and with nature. Okay, another common question. Is there a bathroom? On the day hikes and the overnights, I'm trying to make sure to plan campsites that have access to some sort of bathroom, but it's not guaranteed. And then for your expedition as well, again, at the beginning or the end, there may be a bathroom, but while you're in the backcountry, there is not. And so you'll learn the protocol for using the restroom in the backcountry. And I know that might seem really intimidating, and for a lot of people it is. It's a new system that we're not used to, but if you think about it, humans have gone to the bathroom outside for way longer than they've gone to the bathroom inside. And so if you think about, humans at large and the evolution of humans, but we'll help you figure out how that looks and how to be comfortable with that. And honestly, like that might be your challenge in the middle, is make sure everybody poops, right? Because it's a natural human, system, and you got to make sure that you're taking care of it and staying healthy. On that same note, how do I keep clean? There's a couple different ways. So this brown or this black bag that you're looking at right here is called a dromedary, and that's where you keep water. And then, as you can see, it's got a little spigot, right? So that's how you'll keep your hands clean and wash your hands when you're cooking and engaging with things. We also will be purifying water. If you are a student, if you have a layover day, right? I might fill this up and hang it on a higher branch and use it as a bit of a shower, right? If I'm using the restroom, I might take my water bottle with me and bring some soap and make sure that I can clean myself just like I would in the shower, but off in the privacy of the woods. It's a different system, but, and then as far as menstruation goes, for my menstruating people, there is a whole system for maintaining what you need in the backcountry. We do pack in and pack out. So if you bring any of your products, we'll ask you to pack those up, and we'll give you a special bag for you to pack those up and keep them sealed and separate. And we'll throw those away when we get back to the front country. And that's the same with toilet paper and anything else that you might, if you bring body wipes or anything like that into the backcountry, we'll pack it all out just like we pack all of our food waste and everything, because there's something called leave no trace, and we make sure that we don't impact the community, the environment that we are in, which is part of that sustainability. What is the food like? So the food is food that can't go bad, right? So it's stuff that can stay room temperature or day temperature and not spoil. So you're looking at oatmeal, granola, bagels, you're looking at sandwiches, fruit, lots of snacks. You're looking at a lot of rice and pastas, a lot of tortillas. Usually there's a pretty big dichotomy of tuna sandwich people versus PB&J people. So we'll have to figure out which way you skew. And of course, we take into account any sort of allergies or dietary restrictions when we plan that menu. And that all is in the medical form that you'll fill out before you register. And that will all go into account before we send you into the backcountry with anything. But the idea is that you're actually getting to cook full meals. So you can see how they've got a cutting board and are cutting up, I think that might be an onion or garlic or something. Who knows? And one of the biggest comforts in the backcountry is food, right? You've been hiking all day, you're starving. And so learning how to make good food in the backcountry is always a delightful thing to learn. And then candy options and s'mores. We're lucky here in the South, we get a lot of rain, so we aren't often on a fire warning or a fire ban. And so if it's not too hot in the summer and we have a fire ring, it'd be really fun to be able to have those bonfires and s'mores. All right, why can't we bring phones? There's a couple different reasons, but the main one is that we want to give you a chance to unplug and really learn the natural pace of your body and what it is capable of, right? So we're so used to driving around in cars or planes or bikes. And so it can be really interesting to learn how to just go at the pace of walking. Also, we really like to be stimulated by all of the music, TV. We usually have multiple things stimulating us at once, and our bodies do really, really well when we have a chance to calm down and only engage through our senses, the things that are naturally occurring. Even more so, there's a bunch of neuroscience out there about how being disconnected from technology for 5 days allows your neuroscience and your emotions to really reset. It allows your neural system to reset and it lowers your cortisol levels. And then furthermore, like things like bird song are one of the most calming things that can happen in our brains. And then furthermore, it's about communicating and building community amongst the people around you. And so without those distractions, you really get to know not only the people around you, but you get to know yourself. You get to learn, you know, when do you feel bored? When are you getting fidgety? What, you know, comes up in your body when you're getting frustrated hiking up a hill, or, you know, what causes you to become impatient, whether that's conversation or activity. You don't have all of these distractions to keep you from having to engage with those things. Am I physically fit enough? My inclination is yes. I've been talking with Whitney and Amber, and I'm going to pitch them a couple different route options, and they'll choose based off what they know about you. I will say though, as always, you know, movement and exercise is always good for you. So if you're thinking about doing this, maybe you walk around the neighborhood, maybe you pack your backpack full of all your books and go up a couple flights of stairs. Be intentional about how you're taking care of your body always, right? And the goal is that through the day hike and the overnight hike, you get an opportunity to kind of check in with your body and see where you are before you go into the backcountry, right? So if you do your day hike and you realize that, wow, I didn't know I needed to drink this much water, or wow, my legs are sore, you can figure out what makes sense for you to prepare for that 7-day expedition. But the idea is that the goal of these expeditions is not to see how many miles you can hike. It's not to see, you know, how far we can push ourselves physically. It's about just getting into that growth zone that's a little bit outside of the comfort zone and seeing how we can grow. And you all decide the pace of what that looks like, between you and your fellow participants, as well as the adults on the trip. So y'all will decide what that looks like for you all. Whew. Okay, thoughts and questions. That was a lot of me talking. You can pop them in the chat or out loud. I've got some risk management info.
And now I know there might not be any questions now, but once we send out the application, I did put a question on there, or a section on there, for if you have any lingering questions or concerns, or it's going to ask like, what's your biggest concern about participating, as well as just to get an idea on whether you would be interested in all 3 excursions, 2, or just the first one. Oh, I see a question.
Awesome. Do we have a roundabout time for the trips other than May, June, or July? I don't. Actually, Whitney and Amber are working on that right now, I believe, to submit dates to me when we have a better idea.
Yes, we are trying to get a better idea. We were thinking about possibly having the day hike happen in May, probably right before the school year ends, just to get an idea before it starts getting super busy, just so that we can set the pace for how we want the ambassadors to meet outside of the meetings, because we do want to have a component where students can participate in our ongoing summer services too. Not only do we want them to connect with each other as ambassadors, but we want them to have the opportunity to connect to other summer volunteers as well, so that they can really emphasize and practice their leadership and tie that into community. Because yes, they are their own community as ambassadors, but we do want them to connect to the Birmingham area as well. So we would prefer for the day trip to happen in May. If not, then we would have we would have the day trip and the weekend trip in June, and then the full week in July. We're very aware of like school restarting. We know that some of the schools are going back even earlier, like towards the end of July. So we just want to be aware of what dates we have to work around. And of course, like avoiding major holidays.
So I can't, please keep popping questions in the chat or come off mute at any point. I have a feeling that if I have parents in the crowd, we might have some questions about risk management. And so I just want to make sure that you all know that the instructors that are on course will have wilderness first responder certifications. So those certifications are actually higher certifications for wilderness medicine than like a firefighter. And so these people have been trained on how to identify and treat / diagnose any major illnesses in the backcountry and how to evacuate people accordingly. We also will be collecting all medical information we can to best support you and your student. That is on the registration form. And so please include anything and all that you want us to know about before you send your student into the backcountry with us. We want to know how we can best support them. And then finally, all youth agency staff will be on all trips. In this case, 2 youth agency people will be. So both Whitney and Amber will already know your student a little bit, and they will be able to speak to what your student needs as well. We also have, while your students will not have phones, both of the instructors will have a satellite phone, and they will be contacting me daily, letting me know if there's anything I need to know, or just, we're all good, right? And so they have a direct line out to me, and the satellite phones have better service than, your regular cell phone. And then of course, we always will have an emergency action plan in place in case there is an emergent evacuation necessary, as well as the closest medical facilities in case anything were to happen. Yep, so satellite phones for emergency use. If an accident were to occur, we'll get you and your student to the closest care and keep you informed. And then finally, trip itineraries are flexible. Our priority is the student's physical and emotional well-being. And so if they decide in the field that something needs to happen, if they need to come out sooner, or if something or they need to shorten their route for everybody's needs, they have the flexibility and the autonomy to do so. So all of the adults that are in the field with your students will have the autonomy to make decisions to best support them. So even if our itinerary says we're doing this, but they decide they need to do this in order to best support everybody, that's what it looks like. I already did that. I went backwards, sorry. So kind of like I was just saying, if anything happens in the field, the instructors will be contacting me, and then I will be contacting, so this is kind of the way it goes. So the instructors find out, they let me know. I have a whole team, not only me, but our executive director, our regional program manager. We also have a doctor on call, a medical professional who can give us advice. And then also we have that emergency action plan in place to contact any sort of medical facilities that are close by if there were anything serious enough to require that. And then I am the one who would be contacting parents if anything were to happen, or if y'all needed to know any information from the field. In the backcountry and in sort of outdoor programming, no news is good news. And honestly, I don't have a child, so I can't imagine the risk it must feel to have your student in the backcountry, but I can put you in touch with my mother because she can identify, and she still struggles to sit back and understand no news is good news, as does my father, honestly. So I hear you, and we will do our best to support you and quell your worries before they go out. And so, yeah, that's just part of the process of letting us fly the coop, I suppose. COVID-19 is still a thing. And so we are intentional about making sure that people don't come out if they have symptoms or have tested positive. So we ask that everybody stays intentional about monitoring their symptoms, monitoring their health, and making sure that we're not putting anybody in danger that doesn't need to be. So all of our adult participants and all of our volunteers go through a pretty intensive registration process, including a background check. We're not going to put anybody in contact with your students that have not been fully vetted by Birmingham or by Big City Mountaineers. And then we will ask for participants to be vaccinated for COVID-19. So hopefully your kid will not be at risk. Finally, preparing for a trip. We will be sending the registration form with Whitney and Amber, and that will be part of y'all's application process. And in that, you will get access to packing list, full itinerary, contact info for everybody within the office and who you might need to be able to contact. And that will all come closer to our launch date. Okay. And then finally, our commitment to you all is that we prioritize students' emotional and physical safety, right? We are not only concerned with physical safety, we are also concerned with emotional safety. We want your student to feel supported. We want them to feel challenged, but we want them to feel empowered. And so in order to do that, we will be in touch and we'll be supporting not only your students, but all of the adult participants that are on the trip with them to make sure that they get the support that they need to be successful. A focus on building a culture of mutual trust and respect that celebrates every individual, a safe space to communicate, and will take student concerns seriously, caring, trained adults there to support you and your student, and a commitment to continued learning. This is our first year in Birmingham, and we're pumped. And so we're probably going to rely on all of our participants to give us really thorough feedback so that we can only tweak and improve upon our program, because we want PCM to be in Birmingham for a while. And we understand that the best way to do that is to hear out our participants and their families to make sure that everybody feels supported and successful each year. And so student expectations, we want you all to communicate with youth agency staff, communicate with Whitney and Amber, give them all the details that they need to support you all, because they can share that with me and we can, as a team, build an experience that best serves your needs. Follow safety policies and guidelines. There are ways to stay safer when we're in these situations, and we want to make sure that everybody is on the same page. So you will be given some guidelines and safety expectations, and we ask that you follow them. Try to participate fully in the experience. You're going to be out of your comfort zone, but see all the ways that you're going to able to grow and push yourself outside of that comfort zone, because that's where the growth is. Prepare to leave your phones behind. Go ahead and start mentally preparing now if that is something that you're a little anxious about. I think y'all might do that already in some experiences with YouthServe. I'm not sure. And then respect and support your fellow team members. You're a team. Listen to each other, support each other, cheer for each other on. What is it? Rising tide raises all ships, right? So as you move along, lift as you climb, bring those around you with you, and that only it leads to more involvement and more improvement among everybody. And then our parent guardian expectations. Please do what you can to support your student in arriving on time the day of. While the students are on the trip, trust that no news is good news. Okay, so if you don't hear from us, that means everything's going smoothly. And then finally, be available as an emergency contact and be ready to welcome your student home, whether that's with their favorite food or, anything that makes them feel welcome to get back to the front country. They will be stinky when they get in your car, most likely. So try not to bring that up, maybe. If you have any concerns or questions, we're here. Please feel free to reach out. This is my job. And I tell my students in my classroom the same thing. My job is to answer your questions and help people learn. So please do not be shy. No question is too small. I want to make sure that you all feel comfortable and supported, trusting us with your student. And I will do everything I can to make that happen. All right. So this is what the registration process looks a little different for you all, because you're going to apply. You're going to apply. And if you get accepted into the ambassadors program, that's when you'll register. We'll have follow-up questions to make sure that we have everything we need, and then we'll give you the confirmation that you need as well as the packing list and all that kind of stuff, which is minimal because we try and give you everything you need. And then this is us. There's my contact information if you need me, have any further questions, etc.
Yeah, and I'll jump right in and tell you our timeline at YouthServe. So applications do open tomorrow. I think they will be being sent out in the morning just so that you all can go ahead and start filling out the application. So with that being said, they will be open until March 16th. As soon as we start getting applications in, Amber and I and Margaret are going to start scheduling interviews so that we can go ahead and get that interview process started. Amber and I are hoping to have all decisions made by spring break, so that last week in March. We are hoping to know, if that means even if the last application comes in on the 16th, we would still have that week in between to do any interviews, ask any last minute questions, allow you all to change your mind or whatever that case may be. And then before spring break, we're going to all sit down and come together and figure out who is going to be accepted. We are accepting around 20 to 25 ambassadors, and So once that happens, when y'all come back from spring break, you're going to get a lovely welcoming message letting you know that you have been accepted as summer ambassadors. And I believe, Margaret, you said that the registration paperwork needs to be filled out at least 1 month prior to the first excursion. So that is why our timeline is so tight. We are trying to keep this as close as possible. We would love to let y'all know the first week of April. We are planning to let y'all know the first week of April so that we can do announcements and then get that registration paperwork to y'all as soon as possible. And then that allows for us to have the opportunity to do that first experience in May. And that would allow us to do one in May, June, and July. Otherwise, we would have to do 2 in June and then 1 in July. And just to give some more information about this, so we are working to combine the power of service-oriented leadership and transformative experiences to grow personally. We want community engagement and skill development amongst your participants. We want this to be youth-led. We plan to have regular workshops and planning sessions, and I'm going to turn that over to Amber to share some information about that, just because we're super excited about how we can form this partnership and make it the best beneficial point to us. So Amber, if there's anything you'd like to add.
Yeah, so if you are familiar with some of our programming, you know that a lot of the work that we do is centered around giving students in Birmingham the opportunity to kind of lead service. So kind of identifying what they care about and leading service. So they kind of go through the process of connecting to partners and figuring out, what it is that they care about and how do you serve that need and what does that look like in the community. I know we have some students on the call right now who are starting to go through that process. The summer will be a little different. So we will be, as a staff, we will be already planning these service events. We'll have about 12 to 15 opportunities for service throughout the summer. So we're looking for our summer ambassadors to help lead those efforts. So what does that mean? It means that our ambassadors will be responsible for showing up to at least one of these services and leading the check-in process. So greeting everyone, saying hello, making sure that their face is seen, and that they're communicating with the rest of the participants. We will also have them lead icebreakers. So if you've been to a service day, you know that you show up and there's a moment where you're like waiting for people to check in and you're like, what do we do? That's a great opportunity for icebreakers, and we want to make sure that our students are connecting together. So we'll ask the ambassadors to help lead that charge. Other than that, there will be other opportunities. So this summer, we are looking to add more education to our service. That is something that we've wanted to improve upon. So we will be offering presentations before or after our service that give a little bit more insight into the community that we're serving in, the organizations that we're serving with, and the impact that the service has on the community. And we're very, very open to letting students lead that if they feel so called. We will support them in doing research and working on those presentation skills. If they want to, we want them to be as involved as they want to be, or we want you to be as involved as you want to be if you're a student on the call. I think that's really the gist of it. I know that Big City Mountaineers is a new thing that we're doing this year, and we're super excited about that. Otherwise, it's going to be service as usual.
And I hope that a lot of this shows just how well these organizations tie together. We have very similar missions, we have very similar goals, and even the underlying elements like developing social emotional learning, developing that connection to self, developing self-awareness, that hits me as a trained social worker and therapist. I always want you all to get in tune with yourself, but also getting in tune with nature and maybe you figure out that the best way for you to connect to yourself is by taking a step outside, taking a walk, experiencing that opportunity to connect with just yourself, your family, and the people in your community. And maybe this broadens your horizons to show that no matter where you all come from, no matter what school you attend, that you can all connect and we can struggle and thrive together in the woods. And I know this is going to be a new experience to me as well. So I know any parents that are on here, this is going to be a new experience for me as well. I am not a very outdoorsy person. I only go outside for hiking. So this is going to be completely new to me as well. So I'm hoping that this is a great experience for us all to learn together and grow together and develop a new interest. But yeah, feel free to throw any questions in the chat box. We also are toying with the idea of possibly doing some office hours in the meantime, like while the applications are out. Should you all have any lingering questions, I'm also going to put my email in the box as well. So that should you have any questions, whether it's about YouthServe, the summer ambassadors portion, or whether it's specifically something with Big City Mountaineers, you can copy me and copy Margaret so that we can, and copy Amber so that we can make sure we're getting all the information to you all, and we can constantly update the frequently asked questions on our website on the page where this information is listed. But yeah, drop any questions for us.
While we're waiting for questions, I am just going to go ahead and add our ambassador kind of information packet and flyer into the chat. Just so you'll have that and you can take that with you.
Oh, also, if anybody knows of anybody in their lives that might be interested in volunteering, the volunteer registration form is also on the website that I just sent you all, and we would love as many participants from the community to come join us. We're looking for those driven adults to kind of show students even if you don't know a bunch about the outdoors, maybe it's an opportunity to be vulnerable and show students what it looks like to learn something new, and get a little frustrated, but then overcome it. Maybe you have a huge passion for birding. Like, please, we welcome all interests, and anybody who's willing to engage with this, we would love to have them on board.
Well, it seems like there are no questions. If that's the case, you can go ahead and hop off. Thank you for jumping on. Oh, and as I'm talking, I see Wesley's in the chat.
Yay, Wesley! Thanks for speaking up, dude. It is a new experience, and it's going to be a new experience for your youth and your youth people, your youth agency leaders too. And honestly, that's what life is: constantly stepping into new spaces and stepping into new experiences, and seeing how you handle it, and you learn so much about yourself. I'd be really impressed. I'm impressed by everybody who's willing to step forward, even when things seem unknown. Thanks for y'all's attention and participation, y'all. I'll see you when I see you.
Bye.
Bye.